The following episode of the Maui Chamber of Commerce's Business Matters radio show was originally broadcast on June 22nd, 2021.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff or management of Visionary Related Entertainment.
Aloha and welcome to Business Matters radio show. This is a program brought to you by the Maui Chamber of Commerce and sponsored by Mokulele Airlines and Sherry Reeve Gallery and Gifts. I'm your host, Pamela Timpot, president of the Maui Chamber of Commerce, and my voice is a little froggy this morning, so hopefully that'll clear out as I keep talking. Today, we're going to cover digital economic initiative that Governor David Ige has been working on, and vaccine benchmarks. We're going to talk about, inter-island travel restrictions and the general state of the aviation industry post-COVID, and hear what's happening in East Maui, tourist traffic, and how the influx of visitors has impacted businesses in Hana and the Wai'Napa reservation system to help. So first, I'd like to welcome Governor David Ige. He was sworn in as the 8th governor of the state of Hawaii on December 1st, 2014. Governor Ige is focused on improving the lives of Hawaii's people and making the islands a place for future generations to choose to call home. He is increasing affordable housing, reducing homelessness, moving forward the state's 100% renewable energy goal, and remodeling public education to prepare students for the innovation economy of the 21st century. Under his leadership, the state has aggressively moved to ensure financial sustainability and enable future growth. He believes, like we believe, that we can achieve our shared goals because we have always been better together than alone. Aloha, Governor, and good morning. How are you?
Aloha, Pam. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
It's always our pleasure to have you on the show. So this morning, we'd love for you to share with our listening audience about your new initiative relating to the digital economy.
Sure. Pam, one of the things I think that we learned during this pandemic is, most organizations and businesses can adapt to the digital economy. We were forced to. Virtually everything that we do went digital, whether it's online learning in the school system. We promoted digital solutions to access to government services, and many businesses changed from what they normally do in live in-person luncheons and meetings to virtual sessions. And, it was a very difficult time. I think we all recognize that. But I was truly inspired that virtually every single organization in the state embraced digital technology and utilized it in some way to make their businesses able to survive during this pandemic.
Yes, absolutely. It really has been, as you said, we always say that through crisis comes innovation, and we were forced to do it. But the good news is we now have so many new tools.
Absolutely, and I think we're all learning and getting better at it. So, the Digital Economic Initiative is really looking at taking the lessons learned during this pandemic and really helping businesses embrace it more fully. And Pam, it does get back to the whole notion of sustainability. And, the more we have businesses and entities in our state that can master the digital tools and help other businesses and organizations do the same, the more jobs we create locally and the better our economy will be. So, that's a very important focus of this digital economic initiative. It's really to try and identify, I use the restaurant example because that's probably what touches most people. If you think about it, when we first had to close the in-person dining, many businesses restaurants went to online or takeout only.
Right.
And they probably started it the old-fashioned way, right? Someone answering the phones, responding to orders, and then we knew that if we could take online orders, that would allow us to be more efficient, and we began to do that. And then you saw those entrepreneurs who started delivery services and DoorDash and others. And part of this digital initiative is what we'd like to see is businesses in all of those niches. I mean, I think DoorDash helped many restaurants, and it would have been terrific if that was a local company and a local product, because that obviously would create businesses here, and it would really help other businesses in the local economy. So, I mean, I think that that's a real focus. Can we identify and nurture those digital facilitators that are here, encourage the development of the whole range of businesses that enable digital economic activity? Focus in the learning, so make sure that our university, our schools can provide our students access to learn the tools that are necessary to be effective, and then facilitate businesses finding other local businesses that can actually help them implement digital platforms and digital solutions.
It's so exciting to me. And of course, our younger folks are so much more adept at this than some of us are. And so to see a career path in things they really enjoy.
Yes, yeah, most definitely. And Pam, virtually every organization and business went to telework or online working in some form or fashion during this pandemic as well. And I think we've all learned lessons about how to manage individuals who may be working from home. What kind of tools we need to have in our businesses and organizations to facilitate that, and then just how to make sure that you can encourage the corporate culture and all the connections that are so essential for thriving organizations in a different way. So that could be a virtual staff meetings and other activities, so that we can get the benefit of working in an organization and encouraging teamwork at the same time. They may be working from different locations. I think that was something that we saw all across the state, and clearly on a go-forward basis will be part of our economy.
Well, I have to tell you, Governor, that while so many people, including our board, are dying to get back to in-person meetings, I am constantly hoping that we move forward with board meetings virtually, because there has not been a single quorum issue throughout COVID when we did virtual board meetings. So I'm a huge supporter. And
Pam, I think that's one of the things, right? I mean, we did have access to virtual meetings prior to the pandemic, and
right.
It's one more thing to learn in a busy schedule, and it never was important enough to make it part of our typical day. But with the pandemic, all of us have had to embrace virtual meetings, and you do discover that it's a real time saver. The fact that 30 seconds prior to the scheduled time, you can just connect from wherever you are.
Right.
I think we're all seeing that it helps us be more efficient and effective. At the same time, we will want to have occasional in-person meetings and activities. There is so much that can't be translated into the digital platform that comes from just being able to have an informal conversation in a meeting rather than the formal a virtual meeting that I think all of us miss. I think the future is going to be a hybrid of both virtual and in-person meetings.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And we don't want, we, especially here in Hawaii, we crave that contact. We crave that in-person contact. We want to get back to being able to share our aloha spirit and hug each other again and, kiss each other on the cheek. And but I have to say I'm going to continue to ask the board to do board meetings that way because it works. It was proven to work. So, Governor, we are also really excited about the new vaccine benchmarks and how we can continue to reopen our economy. Can you share a little bit more with our folks online and listening in a little bit about, where you see this going, how we're currently doing, again, if you can refresh everybody's mind on the new benchmarks and, what you're seeing as the timing that you think is possible to reopen up?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for that question, Pam. One of the things that we recognized as we were proceeding down with this pandemic, the mayors and I, was that, the previous tier systems did not include vaccinations. I know that we were aware of them, but we didn't incorporate vaccination level. And so in the past month or so, we did formalize our discussions, and we agreed rather than making wholesale changes to the tier system, we would overlay vaccination levels within the state in order to create an incentive for people to get vaccinated, but to really have a plan and a framework that businesses and organizations could count on. And that's why we came up with a new Tier 5, if you will, that we can embrace when we get to 60% of our entire community being fully vaccinated, and a Tier 6 that reflected 70% of our community being fully vaccinated, and Tier 6 would be, a dropping of all the restrictions and really getting back to normal. So, right now we've administered 1,651,000 doses statewide. 57% of our community is now fully vaccinated. So we definitely are approaching that level, that 60% fully vaccinated level, that would mean a relaxation of some of the restrictions that we currently have.
Yes, and I know that you and many partners throughout the state are working on this. We've got the new Hi Got Vaccinated website to encourage people to get vaccinated who haven't been vaccinated yet. Yes,
we truly appreciate businesses really stepping up. When we announced this initiative, almost immediately others were calling to offer incentive programs. We have many round trips for two from Hawaiian Airlines and Alaska Airlines and Southwest Airlines that have been offered up. Many hotels are offering mileage or points that can be converted into stays in hotels and others. And many restaurants have really stepped forward to provide prizes. There's a Zippy's dinner every week for a year, which is a great opportunity, and many other prizes, and that really has been a terrific response for all of us.
It was very exciting to see. I can tell you, just yesterday, and we sent out an e-blast to our members, we had a conversation with Minute Medical here on Maui, and they have vaccines available, and they're really trying to reduce the barriers. So we announced, they asked us to partner with them and announce that they would be willing to go to business locations where employees or employees' family members or associates or affiliates of the company had people who were still looking to get vaccinated, and go to individual companies. They just need a small room, and they can register directly with Minute Medical and just say, here's our contact person, here's the dates we'd like to do it, here's how many people we think would need to be vaccinated. And, they'll even do small groups as low as 5. I mean, the goal is to just reduce that barrier and take the vaccines where people can quickly and effectively get them. So we're really excited to help and hope people take advantage of that. And if you're listening and you're not a chamber member and didn't see that blast, no problem. Just call the chamber office at 244-0081. Talk to our team, and they'll let you know how you can email Minute Medical. But it's new things are coming across every day. I mean, when people are reaching out for us on different programs and things to help. And it's exciting because we're working very hard towards that goal of 60. And then, of course, the ultimate goal of Tier 6, the 70%, where really we get back to normalcy.
Absolutely. And, it has been, we are seeing the pace of vaccination slowing down. And thanks for your support and Minute Medical. We are working with all the providers, trying to be creative. And really, like you said, it's about reducing barriers, being willing to take the vaccine out to where those who need vaccinations live and work, and really trying to make it as convenient as possible for people to get vaccinated. So I appreciate your work on that and Minute Medical, and certainly I think that the department is really trying to make that available to organizations and businesses across the state, because we know it's important for us. Sometimes people are just too busy, and we can understand that. And that if they can get access to vaccinations in their place of work or someplace that they normally have to travel to, we want to be able to support that as well.
Yes, and thank you so much. We're happy to help, and I know they are as well. And it was just one of those things. They quickly called yesterday and said, "Can we do this?" And we're like, "Sure." I mean, we'll try. And I know businesses are happy to help too. And what's cool is it's not a big ask. I mean, Minute Medical is really taking on all the coordination. They're taking on making sure that when a business reaches out and has employees or family members or other contacts, they'll bring enough doses. They have all 3 vaccines available, so people could even share what they're maybe more interested in for their particular group. So, I mean, it's wonderful that we're so much has gone on to bring us to these levels, and the work continues. And you're right, we're so close. It's slowing down, but we're so close. And so we're really hoping to get there.
Absolutely. And we, if your listeners have other ideas of ways that we would be able to vaccinate, those who still haven't been vaccinated, please ask them to share it with you. And if we can facilitate any of those ideas, we would be happy to do that.
Thank you, Governor. We will do that. And so actually, if you're listening in, let's all work together to help the governor. If you have other ideas, Governor Ige wants to hear about them. So please call the chamber. I'll mention our number again. It's 244-0081. The other thing is, if you have concerns or there's questions that you have, we're working with some of the medical team. We did a special broadcast with 2 Kaiser physicians a few weeks ago to talk about some of the key questions people had on why they weren't getting vaccinated. And so we raised those up and got answers for you. We are talking about some additional questions again. So let us know at the Maui Chamber of Commerce. What we want to do is help people, understand the reality of the vaccines, understand, what the pros and the cons are and why it's important, and just get the information out. So if you don't feel some of your questions have been answered, please contact us at the chamber and we'll work to get those answers back to you.
Absolutely, Pam. We want people to make informed choices. I chose to get vaccinated because I do know that it's safe and effective. And, from the big picture, it really helps. Millions of people across the country have gotten vaccinated at this point in one of the 3 vaccines that have been approved. And, the cases of issues or problems with the vaccinations have been very, very small, as a percentage of all of those vaccinated. it's safe and effective. And I think most important, those who have been vaccinated, even if they are exposed to COVID and get COVID, we do know that the disease symptoms at that point is much reduced, and serious illness is very, very rare amongst those who are vaccinated. So, for a lot of reasons, being vaccinated is the best thing that anyone can do for themselves, their family, and the community in general.
Absolutely. So, Governor, given where we're at and given some of the new programs you've got, how are we doing as a state? How is our economic recovery going?
Our economic recovery has gotten a lot brighter in the last month or so. Pam, we are seeing more visitors coming to our islands. We are actually, the month of June, we're actually above pre-pandemic levels for travel from North America. One of the things that happened during the pandemic, as you're aware, all the airlines had idle aircraft because international travel pretty much went down to zero. And so as Hawaii was doing very well with low virus counts, and even though people were required to get a pre-travel testing, everyone was willing to do it. So we actually right now are getting more than what we got in terms of travelers coming from North America. My concern in the long run is that this won't last forever.
Yes.
Many on the mainland may have wanted to travel international. Hawaii is a very special place. They recognize that. And so they were willing to come here, even if they had to get tested, because they had few options. We know that the travel industry will get back to normal, and this pent-up demand, and virtually every airline had extra aircraft that they weren't flying because there was nowhere to fly. And many of them started routes to Hawaii on a temporary basis, knowing that they will redeploy those aircraft once travel gets back to normal. So what we're seeing now is really won't last and won't allow us to entirely recover from the pandemic. And so I think we need to be smart about managing the visitors and really working to have more sustainable long-term solutions. For, as you said, why not Napa Park, and trying to manage permits so that we can control the numbers, develop reasonable policies and protocols to ensure that we can better share the spaces that are important to residents and important to visitors at the same time.
Yes, we wholeheartedly agree, Governor. I wish we had more time. We always, I always want more time with you. I'm sure the whole state always wants more time with you, which makes it very difficult for you, I know. But thank you so much for being on our show. We will, of course, extend an offer again when you have time to come back and join us. We really appreciate your time today. And thank you for sharing on all these different arenas so that people can better understand. And we're going to work toward that herd immunity.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pam. I appreciate it. Everyone, get vaccinated. Aloha.
Thank you, Governor. Aloha. Have a wonderful day. This show is brought to you by Mokulele Airlines.
Mokulele Airlines operates the largest commuter airline hub in the country, right here in Kahului. Fly Mokulele from Kahului to Molokai, Lanai, Hana, Waimea, Kona, and now Hilo. Mokulele also operates the only flights between Kapalua and Honolulu. There is never a middle seat on Mokulele, and every seat has a window and aisle. Visit mokuleleairlines.com and take your next flight from the newly renovated Mokulele Terminal.
We're back. If you're just tuning in, this is Business Matters. And we are here with Keith Sisson. Speaking of Mokulele Airlines, Keith is the Chief of Staff of Mokulele Airlines, the co-founder of Southern Airways in 2013. Keith was part of the team that led the acquisition effort of Mokulele in 2019. Since Southern has taken over Mokulele, they have expanded to offer daily services from both Honolulu and Maui to Lanai, as well as a recent new addition to the route structure. Kahului to Hilo was added, which operates 4 times daily. They also have a beautiful new renovation with modernization efforts at the Kahului Commuter Terminal. If you haven't seen it, it is phenomenal. It is also the busiest commuter terminal in the United States. Mokulele now offers over 120 daily flights in Hawaii, and since becoming the only airlines of Molokai and Lanai, they have made a commitment to having never had a sold-out flight day, so they make sure that they accommodate those regions. Keith is an avid college football fan and enjoys starting his fall Saturdays prior to sunrise with the first kickoff on the East Coast and finishing the day with the traditionally last kickoff of the day with UH. Wow, Keith, you are an avid fan. Aloha and welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much. Yes, and it has been, I have always, my entire life, finished the day watching U of H play football, so it's great to live here now.
That is so awesome. And I know you have a 3-year-old son named Jack, and your wife lives here too, Ashley. She is a local artist. So you guys have a full plate.
We do, and we're very fortunate that right now our 3-year-old is enjoying some time with the grandparents on the mainland, and we're going to be going to pick him up. But he is at Camp Mama and Papa, or Mimi and Papa, and he is enjoying it. I saw where he's playing golf and learning to golf and learning to fish and doing all those things that grandparents are really good at doing.
Oh, that is so cool. And I know your wife Ashley has artwork on display in Hilo and Kona.
That's right. Yeah, featured artist of the month in Hilo last month at one gallery, and then this month has a showing in Kona. So very proud of that.
Well, we love to promote local businesses and especially artists who sometimes, these days are not getting seen, or, art. The cost of art sometimes is challenging in difficult times, but we love to see artists continuing to be on display and be featured and finding new ways to promote their art.
It is a very exciting time, no doubt.
So, Keith, you have we're so proud of Mokulele and how you stepped up in regions of Molokai and Lanai and the work that you're doing to make sure that there are always seats available for those who need to get there. Can you also share with our listening audience about some of the inter-island travel restrictions that have been lifted? We just had the governor on talking about the new Level 5 and new Level 6. How is that now impacting your business?
Well, the biggest impact was when the vaccine passport program went in place well over a month ago. That was when we saw the biggest jump in passenger traffic for inter-island. Prior to that, you had to have a COVID test, or you had to quarantine to fly between the islands, or you had to be an essential worker. But when they did the program where if you were a Hawaii resident and had a COVID vaccine card, then you could go ahead and travel between the islands, still filling out the safe travels information. That was the biggest jump that we saw. And with that step, a lot of people were able to fly just by having the vaccine. And for most of the people that needed to fly, they did have the vaccine. So that was a big jump. And then on the 15th of this month, when the travel restrictions officially ended for all inter-island connectivity, we did see a sizable increase, but not near at the level that we did when the COVID vaccine program went in place.
Ah, okay. So, but are you having consistent and steady traffic?
We absolutely are. With the lifting of the 15th, we have had a significant jump in passenger traffic, though not equal to the jump that we saw a month earlier. And that has forced us to be in a position of having to scale up to meet that demand. We really didn't have any warning that the 15th was going to be a date that was going to happen where the safe travels program for inter-island would come down. So prior to that, we had everything scaled up just about right. We were providing the right number of flights to the right number of islands. We weren't having sellouts. We were having plenty of seats, and we were meeting the demand. When the 15th came around, we had about 1 week's worth of heads up on that, so we had to scale up pretty quickly. And because of that, we have had a few days where we've had sellout days, but typically well in advance. I mean, even going into the next day, if we see that planes are selling out, we will add another flight. But if they sell out the same day, it's hard to add one, same day.
Right.
And we're seeing some of that happening now. And it's just a result of not being able to scale up quite fast enough to meet the demand and not really having a heads up that demand was coming. And it's not just us. It's airlines all across the country are having a very similar experience. Just this week, American canceled about 10% of its flights out of one of its hubs for staffing reasons. They just did not have the staff in place ready to scale up to meet the demand. And I don't think any of the industry experts, if you looked back, 4 and 6 months ago, would expect for the demand to be where it is today for air travel. It really has surpassed everybody's expectations. And because of that, you're seeing a lot of long lines at TSA check-in counters across the country. And you're seeing some of that here in Hawaii. And luckily, if we have a long boarding line at Mokulele, there's only 8 people in front of you, so that is very helpful. But if you do have to go to the main terminal, absolutely plan to get some extra time, because there is some short staffing there, and it is taking a little bit of time to get through the process.
That's very true, and a lot of people are saying to me too, they so love going on Mokulele Airlines because they love again that they don't have to go through those long lines, and they have very convenient parking, and it's just easy and wonderful, and of course they're treated spectacularly when they get there. So we deeply appreciate all of the efforts of your team, and I can't imagine how challenging it is when you're staffing up and down, with times where you just don't know what the demand is going to be. Are you finding staff? Many of our businesses are struggling to get the staff they need. How are you folks doing in that regard?
It's very difficult. It's probably one of the biggest concerns that we have right now. It's very difficult to get staffing. It's a lot of times pretty easy to get interviews, but those interviews oftentimes do not turn into team members. We are fortunate that we have seen a little bit of movement where it's gotten a little bit easier of recent, but it was certainly hard in April and May to make this happen. It may perhaps be getting a little bit easier now, and we did try to scale up in April and May, and just did not have the ability to do so from from an attractiveness standpoint from the potential employee. So we do have some great benefits that we can offer to employees. For example, when you work for an airline, you get travel benefits. So if you have family on a different island, then we're a really good solution for you to have some part-time work, because you can work part-time and then also get flight benefits to travel to visit family. And also, if you want to use those flight benefits to go to the mainland, I do that quite a bit. And it's amazing when you get those discounted airline rates. So we do have some interesting, perks that we can offer to employees when they, if they would like to come to work for us. But it is a challenge right now, and it's not just in Hawaii. It's all across the country.
Yes. I think that's, we're struggling here, and sometimes we look at it from our island point of view, but it is all across the country. And we know that come September, things will change as unemployment changes a little bit. And, we want to keep encouraging people to not wait. Take advantage of these great jobs now, because when unemployment starts to change in September, when unemployment benefits start running out for people, then there's going to be a flood of people applying for those jobs. And what we want to do is encourage people to get out and get ahead of that curve and apply now.
Yeah, and it's also, because there are people kind of sitting on the sidelines right now, it has forced businesses to purge from each other. It's largely unsustainable in the long term, but hopefully we'll be able to get through this.
And what kind of jobs do you have available currently?
Well, we have a full, wide variety of jobs. From a skilled labor standpoint, we certainly are always looking for aircraft mechanics. That's something that is very high on the list. From an entry-level standpoint, customer service agents are always always in demand and on demand at basically every one of our stations. And what I tell people is that this is a fantastic part-time opportunity for you to at the beginning of your career. While there is not a lot of upward mobility in that position with Mokulele, just because we only have a 9-seat operation and there's not a lot of need for kind of that middle management area. But what you do when you start in that position, you learn the industry. And after a couple of years of learning the aviation industry, you can walk from the Mokulele terminal across to the main terminal, and every single one of those big airlines will have their hand out ready to hire you and give you an opportunity that will allow you to advance your career into the corporate structure, possibly staying in the islands, possibly going and traveling to where a better opportunity exists with that particular carrier. But, we very much, from a customer service standpoint, customer service agent standpoint, we're the farm team. We're single A baseball, and we're teaching people all of the skills that they need to get to the major leagues. So it really is a great chance to learn a really exciting industry.
One, I love that example, but I also love that you're wanting, your employees to move up. You're wanting to bring people in, train them, and help them look at this as a career path.
Absolutely, and we do that with our pilots already, and we hire a lot of local young pilots that are starting in their career to come and work with us, and we get them to a certain level, and then we pass them along to the major airlines. And that's it's a natural flow through process. Some of them want to stay and make a career with Mokulele, and we encourage that. But at the same time, we know that when a young pilot starts their career, every pilot has that dream of flying 3 days a month across the Pacific, and then sitting at home the rest of the time. So you've got to work very, very hard to get to where you are offered those routes, and you've got to be in the business for a long time. And we recognize that we're a part of the process of getting people to that dream job.
We sometimes view ourselves like that at the chamber as well. We too are looking for staff, but it is an opportunity for so many people to come in at all levels within your operation, it sounds like, and come in, learn the ropes, move up, and do a great job there and find other opportunities. So what an exciting thing. And you're such a great company. I'm just always so impressed with the things that you've been doing and the help that you offer your customers who fly on Mokulele Airlines, if they need somebody to go with them to get medical attention, that you provide for that. Can you share some of the other wonderful things that Mokulele Airlines is doing?
Well, one of the things that we never turn down the opportunity to help with a local charity. If there's a local charity that has a fundraising event, if you're having a fundraising golf tournament or a silent auction raffle, Mokulele is always there to provide support for organizations like that, especially when those organizations revolve the keiki. We are always out there working with the youth organizations, and primarily one of our big initiatives is our Mokulele surf team, where we have the best youth surfers in the state are on the Mokulele surf team. And we're always looking for opportunities like that to help out and to give back, especially when it comes to youth and first responders, but for many different causes as well. For the passengers that fly on Mokulele, one of and you alluded to this, if you are a passenger with limited mobility, we will allow a person to fly with you for free to help you in the event of an emergency. So that's one of the accommodations that we're making to try to make the air travel a little bit easier for people who otherwise may not be as mobile and may not be as easy for them to make the flights as others. We also have made arrangements to Ohana Airlines, Empire, Hawai'i, and they left behind some ramps, and they have lent those to us. So now we can have ramps that go up to the boarding door of the aircraft for people who may not be able to make the stairs. We now have a way to make the boarding the aircraft a lot easier. We're constantly looking for opportunities like that to enhance the experience, make the experience one that is inclusive for people of all ages. And I think we've really got a good solution in place here in a lot of our markets. And we think we're providing a really good service. And, we have not raised our fares. I think going into Memorial Day weekend, we were probably the only airline in the world that did not raise fares going into Memorial Day weekend. We are going into Independence Day. We have not raised our fares in any of our markets. You can fly the day before July 4th and the day after July 4th, and it's the same as flying tomorrow and the next day. So the fares are very stable in our markets, and we're just trying to provide a really good service for all the people in the community.
Which you absolutely do. And, it's so important, especially for everybody, but us local folks, as we're planning on traveling between the islands, it's so nice to have a consistent fare when you're trying to set aside the money and plan your trip and think about things you're going to do. It's nice to know that you have that rate that you can count on.
Yeah, we absolutely do. And one of the things that we tell people all the time, we have kind of 3 rates per flight. And if you want the lower rate, buy early. The earlier you purchase the ticket, the lower the price is going to be. If you're going to have last-minute travel, it'll be a little bit more of an expensive ticket. But if you know you're going to travel on a specific date, go ahead and lock that ticket in early and get the discounted fare.
Yeah, that's great advice. Really great advice. Well, Keith, as always, we are so glad to have you on this morning with us, and we are so proud to have Mokulele Airlines as a sponsor of the Business Matter radio show. And we just really, again, want to thank you for all the work you did to help shore up our sister islands during COVID and provide just such consistent, thoughtful, caring, and reliable service between our islands. Thank you so much for all that you and the amazing team at Mokulele Airlines does.
That's very kind for you to say, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day, and aloha.
Aloha.
If you're just tuning in, this is Business Matters, brought to you by Mokulele Airlines and Sherry Reeve Gallery and Gifts. Sherry is a renowned watercolorist who offers an array of bright and beautiful art and gifts for every occasion. We also have what she calls Sherry shirts. They are those beautiful shirts that are comfortable and soft and easy to wear that feature her tremendous art. Visit her gallery in historic Makawao town. We now have another special guest that I'd like to introduce. She is from the beautiful east side of Maui, and she is the Ala Kukui's executive director, Kaui Kanaka'ole. Kaui is a kumu hula trained in the renowned Halau o Kukui with more than 20 years of experience in cultural advocacy. She holds a bachelor's degree in education and has 14 years of teaching experience, including 11 years at Hana School. She was born and raised in Hana and maintains ties to the community. Good morning and aloha, Kaui.
Aloha kakahiaka, Pam. How are you?
I'm wonderful. So great to have you on the show today.
I know. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you bet. We haven't gotten to see or talk to each other since some of those visitor industry planning meetings have ended.
Zoom meeting. I know.
The plans got finalized, and now we don't get to see each other anymore.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I'm so happy to be on. Mahalo for having me.
It's our pleasure. Mahalo for joining us. So, Kaui, can you tell us about Ala Kukui and tell us a little bit about what you're doing there?
Sure. We are a nonprofit community-based retreat center. And, our focus is restoring meaning and purpose in traditional Hawaiian practices that enhance our community, particularly our Hana community, and then our larger Maui community in Hawaii and beyond. But, restoring meaning and purpose in our traditional practices is so important to the people who live here in East Maui because we have such close relationships with our aina, with our place.
Yes.
here. And so being able to uplift those practices, to highlight them, to strengthen them, and to share them is what we try and promote at Ala Kukui. And because we have this beautiful 12-acre property with a retreat house and cabins, we have this space, this foundation for gathering people, for holding events and workshops, for hosting people's retreat programs. And so this space helps us to facilitate all of this work that we do in our community. And we are so grateful to be able to have this space and be able to share Hana in this way with other people who come to visit us. And then also, in the work of community work of promoting healing and balance and well-being within our community. The culture aspect is a huge part of that. And so pulling all of that together, gathering people and sharing all of that is very important to our work.
I just want to say that as you're describing this, it just sounds heavenly. I'm sitting here listening going, okay, where do I sign up and how many weeks in advance do I need to call to get in? How is it going? I mean, seriously, how many weeks in advance do we need to call to get in?
We are pretty open. I feel like we are a kind of an unknown out here. We haven't marketed a lot, and mostly by word of mouth. I think we've tried to first solidify our relationship and trust in our community first, and then build relationships with other like-minded organizations and businesses throughout Hawaii. And I think that's how we've been getting people to come over and use our facilities and our property. But, you just visit our website, alakukui.org, and just give us a call. We aren't very busy. We were closed during COVID.
Yeah.
During the shutdown most of last year. We opened back up again slowly. We are open to Hawaii residents at this point because our community is so small, and our community work is very important to us. So we are slowly opening our doors, which is why we're starting with Hawaii residents first. But yeah, just give us a call. Visit our website.
I definitely want to encourage everybody to do that. I'm certainly going to do that because what a beautiful place to be relaxed and rejuvenated, but learn Hawaiian cultural practices and learn about the land and visit Hana. So it's Ala, A-L-A, Kukui, KUKUI.com. Is that correct?
.org.
Oh, .org. Okay, awesome. Yeah. alakukui.org. Okay, so we want everybody to do that. And Kauai, can you also tell us? I know, we've watched. We have all had long concerns about what's been going on with the road to Hana, and people parking in places that they shouldn't park. And so, we've seen an influx of visitors since the pandemic, and as things have been reopened, it's impacting not only travel on the road and safety, but can you talk to us a little bit about the impact on businesses and the rural life in Hana since reopening?
Yeah, of course. During the shutdown, as we all experienced this, this kind of moratorium on movement, and it was such a beautiful thing to be able to be here. To be locked down in Hana, of course. And, it really, I think it reminded us, people who live here, of how important our ecosystems are and how that rest period that was given to us in this, terrible situation was such a blessing for all of our natural cycles here, and we were able to, witness our aina, our kai, our different ecosystems get rejuvenated in front of us. It was a few months of closure, and so we realized what that kind of rest period would do for our aina and how important it was. And so I think the slow reopening back up again, and it's kind of not so slow, actually. People are itching to get out, as we all are, to get out and travel and see different places. We're experiencing that kind of influx of all of the visitors, and it's been hard. The road has been so busy and so full, and on top of visitors coming back again, there are road closures, or there's work being done on the road right now. So there's a couple stops, a couple places, 2 or 3 places on the road where you have to wait, and so that's causing a lot of traffic backup at this particular moment. But before this, and after the road closures end, there's always these beautiful places that you can stop and you want to take pictures. But as you know, the road is at one lane at many places, no real places to pull over on the side. And so it's so important for the safety of the visitors and also the safety of people who use that road to go to work, to go shopping, to go to the, medical appointments, for everyone's safety, to abide by, the rules or the laws of the highway and not park illegally, to take pictures or to stop and see these beautiful waterfalls. And I think that's what we're all trying to deal with right now. How to best ensure the safety of our visitors and also our residents on that highway.
Kelly, I'm sorry we are so out of time, but thank you for sharing that important message. It's really important that you follow the rules there in Hana and not overcrowd by these beautiful sites. We need to find ways to take turns, and we will have asked Kelly to come back because there's more we want to talk about Wai'napa Napa. But thank you for joining us. That's the end of Business Matters, sponsored to you by Mokulele Airlines and Sherry Reeve Gallery and Gifts. I'm Pamela Tumpa, president of the Maui Chamber of Commerce, and we are wishing you blessings and best wishes for a beautiful Maui day. Aloha.